So, is buying a house actually a good investment? If you've been wondering the same thing, stick around because I'm about to tell you. I'm Downey, and I help first-time home buyers and first-time investors buy amazing homes without breaking the bank and spending months making offers and not winning. So if you are looking to buy a house this year, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell for every time I release a video. Alright, so is buying a house actually a good investment? This is the question. And let me get down right to it, because buying a house is a good investment, but when you compare it to other investments like the stock market, the best ROI is not buying a house. So there, I said it, cat's out of the bag. When you look at Case-Shiller data, which is historic data on single-family residential real estate over the past 100 years, and you compare that to data on the stock market, put simply, real estate increases in value anywhere from 3 to 4% year over year, and investing in the stock market, you're going to get at least 6.7% to 10% ROI. So when just looking at the ROI, your return on your investment, pure numbers, investing in the stock market is better. But I don't want to focus just on that in this video. What I want to focus in on is buying a house a good investment for you? Because it is so subjective when considering what is a good investment. Looking at just numbers, absolutely the stock market's going to be better year over year. But when looking at an overall investment, not just with numbers, but in life, for your overall quality of life, that's what I want to focus in on this video. And when looking at real estate as an investment, in this light, the light of an investment with both numbers, so increasing your overall portfolio, the performance of your portfolio, and comparing that to your investment in your own life. Because with real estate, it's different than the stock market in that you are living there. You're spending countless hours in your dwelling place. And so you really need to consider whether buying is better than renting. And please check out this video I made. I put this out to compare investing in real estate, buying real estate, a single family home versus renting. And I break down the numbers there, so you could check that out. But really, I want to highlight the benefits of investing in real estate as an overall good investment. And please stick around to the end of this video, because at the very end, I'm going to give you one tip about actually how owning a house can be better than the stock market when you're in the peak of the market, especially when it's going up and up and up in terms of appreciation. So stick around, because I wanted to highlight that. So how is owning a home a good investment for you? That's the question, right? Because looking at the numbers, it's decent, 3 to 4% year over year when you look at historical data. But you have to consider, okay, how is this going to be a good investment for me in terms of my quality of life? Well, there's 3 things I wanted to highlight regarding that. The first is you own it. Of course, technically, the bank owns it if you're getting a mortgage, but you are the owner of this house, and so you can do anything you want to it. That's the first benefit. You can change the paint, you can remodel. Of course, you can have a garden, plant, whatever you want, animals. So just the fact that you own this piece of land and this dwelling unit means you could do whatever you want. When you're renting, you can't do that. And that is the first highlight I would make. The second is space. Of course, since COVID, space is a big deal. If you're working from home, if you're have the gym at your home, you're spending all kinds of time with your family, everything's focused in on this home, you want space. You want a good amount of space. And so buying a house, especially a single family, you can typically get 2,000 to 3,000 square feet. That's a lot of room to have your life. And also a big one is space in the backyard, right? I mean, for me, I have chickens, I have quail, I have fruit trees, all kinds of vegetables. I could do whatever I want. It's my space. I'm growing my own food. I mean, it's the liberty to do that is amazing. The third point is you are invested in your neighborhood. So when you own a piece of property, you own a house, you are invested in that neighborhood. And the benefit there is you could join the board, you can have a say, you could put any kind of recommendations you want. I'm on the board in my neighborhood, and it's great because you're able to have influence, you're able to meet all the neighbors. Of course, you could do this as you're renting, but it's just not the same when you own it. You have ownership in that neighborhood, and it becomes yours. Even if you have kids, you know, your kids are there in the neighborhood. Really, you're creating this space that is so wonderful for your whole family, and you almost get a sense of pride just by owning that property and having a real investment for your future and your family's future. So I'd like to have you answer these 3 questions. Okay, so before you buy a house, either to live in or as an investment, but especially to live in, you really have to be able to answer these 3 questions. And if you think there's more questions, please ask me in the comments below. And if you're liking this video so far, please hit a like, subscribe to my channel. Okay, so the first point is, do you have enough money for a down payment? This is really simple, but you have to consider. To get a down payment, you minimum need 3 to 5% or so. And if you're looking to buy a house in Dallas, the average home in Dallas, at least end of 2021, was $345,000. And so if you're looking to put 3 to 5%, let's just say 5%, then you're gonna have to have at least $10,000. So if you don't have $10,000, it's gonna be difficult for you to buy a home unless you have friends or family that are willing to gift it to you or loan it to you. That's the first one. The second is you want to make sure, as a rule of thumb, that only 1/3 or less of your income is dedicated to buying a house and paying that monthly mortgage. Okay, so what that means is really your paycheck, you want to make sure that not anything more than 33% of your paycheck goes to housing. Of course, you could be a little over, but rule of thumb people say is you don't want to put too much more into housing because then you'll be house poor. You don't want to be house poor. And so the rule of thumb is 1/3 of your income going to housing. So just make sure that whatever you're bringing in, no more than 1/3 of it is going to a house. And the third point to consider is, how long do you plan on staying in that house? If you only plan on being there for a year or 2 and you may want to leave, you may not want to buy because there are a lot of expenses, especially when buying with the mortgage and closing costs. And then also when you sell with broker commissions, there's a lot of fees at play. And if you plan on moving in a year or 2, it may not be the best way to go. So if you're considering buying a house, you really want to stay at least 3 to 5 years, because it's at that point where the numbers do make more sense if you're going to sell. And now I wanted to point out the pro tip I was mentioning earlier in the video. And one way that where real estate outperforms the stock market is when those appreciations in the market are really amazing. And in Dallas, for example, right now it's 2022, the last 5 years since I've owned my house, it's gone up about 10% year over year. And that's amazing. Of course, you can't take that as the general rule of thumb. It's really 3 to 4% year over year if you look at the last 100 years. But when you're in a good market like it is now, buying a home and riding that appreciation can be an amazing investment. And that's where you could get quite a bit of equity in the house and appreciation, and that sales price goes up and up and up. And that's what's happening now. So my pro tip is, if you're gonna buy a home with a view as it being an investment, buy in a gentrifying neighborhood. What do I mean by a gentrifying neighborhood? I mean a neighborhood that isn't red hot yet, but it's in a good area, not much crime, and yet it just hasn't gone up in value so much, but it's in the center of town. Try to look for a place like that, especially if you don't have to be in a good school districts. Typically already are pretty hot and hard to get into, and the prices are inflated. So look for a gentrifying neighborhood. I know a number of these kind of neighborhoods in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so please reach out to me if you want to know where these neighborhoods are, where a good investment is, and also a good place to live and raise a family along with the investment. So please reach out to me. And I know a number of other agents in other cities in Texas and other cities in other states that know of great investment opportunities as well, so I could refer you. So please reach out to me regarding that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to find out the 3 biggest mistakes first-time home buyers are make, please get the giveaway that I have here. It's a series I made of avoiding these 3 mistakes first-time home buyers make. Please put the request down in to get that. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to catching you on the flip side.